Laps has had an amazing story over the last 11 years, and that story started with a beautiful woman by the name of Patty Dale, who was our first and best ever volunteer. Patty Dale was one extraordinary woman, but she didn't do it alone. It takes a whole team of dedicated staff, donors, supporters, and volunteers. All of it comes together to make a huge difference for the animals that we care for every day.
You get to play with kittens all day. They're super snuggly, and I mean, who doesn't love to play with kittens?
We're just part of a huge group of volunteers and staff that do so much for cats and dogs for Langley.
It's so much fun to see them grow, and they each have their own little character as well.
I've never worked at another shelter, but from what I can see, Laps goes above and beyond in all different areas of the shelter.
I think we're probably the best in the entire Lower Mainland, if not more.
I think we just can't help ourselves. Here at Laps, I think all of the people who are part of Laps and part of our community, and certainly that includes our staff, we're always trying to do more. We have some pretty cool programs, I think, that, we have an amazing dog training program that our volunteers also participate in. We've got an extraordinary foster program for newborn kittens with an incredible success rate. We have an amazing program, it's an employment program for women incarcerated in a federal prison nearby. We call it the Dog House. We have cutting-edge cat housing. We have amazing environmental enrichment programs for all of the animals here.
There's some very passionate staff, and we've had some very, very dedicated and passionate volunteers who've been with us a really long time and are always looking for ways to help us to grow.
The more you do, the more need you start to see in the community. And I put together a little mapping app so that people in the community could map if they knew of stray or feral cats in the community. And so a bunch of people, clicked on the map and said there are cats living here, there are cats living here.
We're estimating that there's actually about 22,000 unowned cats living in Langley. It's a shocking, shocking number. And you can imagine that most of those cats are unspayed and unneutered, and they are producing a staggering number of kittens every year. And part of our commitment in terms of reducing the cat overpopulation crisis is to take in as many cats and kittens as we can fit, especially kittens during kitten season as we can fit. If we didn't bring them in, they would be staying on the streets, and those guys would be reproducing as early as 4.5 months. We first started here, we thought that there was sort of 30 or 40. So we were quite surprised when we realized that there was actually about 200 cats living on this property. It is really going to take a whole community of people working together to look after these problems, look after these cats. We have seen a lot of ringworm come from here.
When we get kittens that have ringworm out at the colony, Laps needs a contained place to keep them and to treat them. And once they run out of rooms, there's nothing that they can do. So
it gets crazy when you have to be using areas that were not intended for isolation. It gets risky. We've been very lucky so far because our staff and volunteers are so diligent. But it makes for just an incredible amount of work for them in terms of cleaning and disinfecting areas that were never meant to be used for isolation purpose.
The solution is being able to have an ISOASIS building where we have the proper space to house more cats and to be able to contain what they have properly and not to have it risk the other animals in the shelter.
The staff are just overworked with ringworm treatment, because it takes forever to gown up, gown down, clean the room, disinfect the whole room, start from scratch. So sometimes it takes up to 2 hours to do one room.
I think the day that it really hit home that we needed something different was when I stopped in after work one day, and all of the furniture from all the offices was sort of moved out into the center. There was a huge mound of laundry that had to be dealt with because a number of sick kittens had come in, and they were all trying to deal with them all at once. And then when they realized that they were sick and they had to go into isolation, everything else had to be disinfected. And that meant office spaces, training rooms, everything. They were exhausted. You could see it in their faces. And I thought there has to be something better, some other way of doing this. And the idea of the ISO Oasis is going to be a safer way of bringing animals into the shelter.
So many. Huge. We need the new building, the new ISO Oasis. We need that soon.
LAPS is a phenomenal organization because they go above and beyond for each animal that comes in.
It's just kitten after kitten, and it's the most rewarding thing I could ever imagine doing. I love it. I love it.
Everybody's working together for the same cause. It's quite a good feeling.
I have never seen anything like what we have at LAPS, and we've now extended that to sort of the world. We have support and followers all over the world, which I think is pretty amazing. So to have such a big family of people who support us makes it so possible for us to do all of the amazing things that we do. And honestly, I feel like we're the little shelter that could. We are this tiny little organization in Langley, and we are doing things that nobody else does. And it is only possible because of the amazing people who support us in so many different ways.